All right, welcome to Pet Nation with John Muller. We're going to talk about traveling, specifically maybe holiday traveling with your pets. Pets and holidays, it's hard for everybody. It's hard for humans getting through the holidays and doing all that stuff. And for your pets, it's hard too. So there's a lot of issues to talk about. With me right now, we have Katy Hansen, Animal Care Centers of New York. Thanks for coming back, Katy. It's always a pleasure to have you here.
Thank you so much for having me.
My pleasure. Let's get right to it. When you think of holiday season, holiday travel season, what's the first thing that comes to mind if you're a pet owner?
To be careful with turkey.
Okay, right. No tryptophan, right?
Well, it's the bones, really. You just got to be careful when, because, your dogs are going to be at your feet.
Yeah.
And you can't give them the cooked bones because that will, and it gets stuck.
It can get stuck. They can choke.
Yeah.
People think, oh, give a dog a bone. It's so true. I've scolded my family. I'm like, that bone, the dog's going to crunch that thing up and God forbid he chokes.
It's always the first thing I think of. But also then there's the traveling part, which is how do you get your pet ready? Usually I think for the holidays of Thanksgiving, it's a quick trip, which is good.
It's a one-day affair.
Yeah. So it's almost like you have to prepare more if you're the host family.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people are coming over. What are you going to do with your pet? And, I think that family members know if their pet is friendly or if they don't like strangers.
Well, what if you're like me and you have a dog that really does love people, but at first, maybe not so much, not so sure. Somebody, a big, large man comes in and my dog's going to bark. And they're going to be best buddies in about 10 minutes. But how do you bridge that moment,
Well, exactly. And if you can keep your pet separate from the large group, at least initially, so that they can have the sense, and they can sort of smell and ease their way into it. Definitely not make a whole big thing where everybody goes right to the pet.
Hey, yes,
I know.
you're right.
And it's really hard because I want to do that. You just go right in.
I had my big nephews come in. They're like football player size, and she went wild.
Yeah, exactly. So you got to be careful with that.
That's so right.
If you're traveling with your pet, you should prepare in terms of making sure that wherever you're going is safe for your pet. If you're staying at a hotel, what is their policy? What kind of vaccinations might you need if you're going someplace or if you're boarding your pet at a kennel? A lot of them need vaccinations. And so you really should get that done way in advance because if everyone leaves it to the last minute, you might not even be able to get a vet appointment to get those shots. So it's things like that. If there's medication, it's a to-go bag for your pet. Maybe they need medicine to calm themselves during a flight or during a long trip. Sometimes they get, a little car sick, which is never fun. But as long as you prepare beforehand, it's pretty easy to travel with a pet.
You mentioned to me, we were talking, make sure you know where the local animal hospital is because maybe with the place you're going, the hosts don't have a pet, so they don't know.
Exactly.
You really
it's always
just
good
put
to
some pre-thought into it.
And there's so many pet hospitals all over. So it's really easy to just, find out where it is just in case. Also, the other important thing to do always is to make sure your microchip is up to date. Make sure that you have a collar on with your contact information. If you have a dog license, that information, because you never know if your pet's going to run away, if they're going to get scared, if they're in a new city. So a lot of people don't know that they have to update their microchip information because we get a lot of lost pets and we look that up and it says not registered. So it's sort of like, well, that, kind of defeats the purpose.
Yes.
So it's really important to have that.
I say go with both. Get the microchip and then just put on an old-fashioned collar with your information on it.
Exactly, with a phone number.
Right.
And because a lot of times pets, when they get nervous, they run.
Yeah.
So that's really important to do.
I have never put a pet on a plane, and I hope to never have to because I've heard so many horror stories, and I think about them all down in the belly of the plane. It must be so traumatic. Have you ever done it? Have you heard horror stories? And if you have to do it, can you medicate the pet safely where they're not as traumatized? Some thoughts on that?
You can medicate your pet if you have to travel with them, but you really should talk to your vet. I wouldn't just assume like, oh, I'll just give my pet Benadryl. You really should talk to your vet about it to make sure you know what's best. I mean, I had a friend that drove their pet across country instead of flying just because they were so nervous.
I don't blame them.
It's not
Has it
easy.
improved? Like historically,
I think there's airlines that actually specialize in, I think it's called Retriever Air. I don't know what it's called.
But they're kind to pets, pet friendly.
Yeah, and you can have a seat for your pet. I think traveling with cats.
That's a good episode. I got to try to get the CEO of a pet friendly plane company to come on and talk about what you should look for. That's a good idea.
Well, and a lot of people have service animals. And in that case, then they are able to fly, no questions asked. I would say traveling with a cat is a little more extensive. I mean, there's some cats, I get so jealous when you see like the TikToks of cats that are going hiking with kayaking. My cat like barely wants to come out from underneath the bed.
Right.
So I think with cats, you might try and have someone stay at your home rather than bring the cat with you.
Cats really who doesn't like their own environment? But yeah, it's especially hard on them, right?
Yeah, exactly. So it's always good to get a cat sitter. There's cat sitters everywhere, and they just come to your home. So I would tend to say that cats prefer to stay home.
Fair enough. I want to get back. It just occurred to me anecdotally. I had the disaster with bringing people in for a barbecue, my sisters and my nephews and all that, with my dog Luna. She, I gave her the classic, "Hey everybody, here's Luna," and she didn't like it. The next time it worked like a charm. When I had company over, I had us sit in the living room and Luna like in hearing distance, but in a different room.
Exactly.
I guess I'm going to try to act like I'm a dog whisperer now, but I just know that if you have turf, they're coming into an area now where they want to join the party, so they're looking to fit in.
And do
as
it on their own
opposed to somebody
terms.
else coming in to the dog's party and saying, "This is my party, not yours."
Exactly.
And it worked like a charm, sniffing everybody and just relaxed.
Yeah, let them do it.
Let
and
them
it's the
come
same
in.
thing when
Let
you
them
get a
come
new
in
pet.
rather than you going into their little territory.
Exactly. It's the feeling that they're in control. They're in control of the situation. They can come and go as they please. And that's the same thing that you should do when you get a new pet. Don't have a massive party where, everyone, let them come in on their own, especially with cats. You're better off just letting the cat, explore, feel comfortable with the smells. They'll come to you.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, cats are love bugs. Don't be fooled by anyone who says anything otherwise.
We're going to do tease. We're going to do another episode on cats versus dogs and just have some fun. And we'll talk about, yes, I'm curious about a cat. And my daughter wants one, but mom says, "No, I can't handle that." But my daughter wants one, and I'm game.
Oh, well, then I will convince you.
It took me a few years to. We're getting away from our topic, but it took me a few years to realize that cats are just cool. You don't command them; you just coexist with them and appreciate them for what they are.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
All right, back to here's something. What if you get invited to your sisters? They're hosting this year, the party, whatever, and you don't want to leave your pet, your dog, maybe alone. How do you ask them? You can't assume that somebody's who has a pet is going to love your pet. You can't assume that a non-pet owner wants to have a pet in their house. Some people are like, "No way, Jose."
Exactly. I mean, you never know what kind of experiences they've had with pets. So
and some people are a little phobic, whatever. And that's just life.
And I think most dog owners would know enough to say, "Hey, is it okay if I bring my 10 dogs? Because I don't want to leave them alone. Do you have room?" But it's very important to say. And even if they say yes right away, you kind of just want to be able, are there going to be other dogs? Are there going to be kids? You need to know who's going to be there.
Two perfect things to talk about. Kids and other pets. We'll start with kids. If you have a reliable dog, you just go, "Oh, well, they're reliable. I don't have to worry about it." Do you want to supervise with the kids?
Yeah, exactly.
At least for a little while?
You do, especially if they're like really small children who would want to ride a dog, like we all did when we were young. Like, look at my mini pony.
Exactly.
Or they're pulling on the tails.
Yeah.
So you definitely want to see what age they are and what kind of supervision they'll have.
What about the pet? You're going to your sister's house and she has a dog and you have a dog, whatever. They haven't met yet. Do you have a strategy for getting them together?
The best thing to do would be have them both on leashes, be outside the home.
Okay.
And introduce them there.
Sort of neutral turf.
Very neutral. Go on a walk together around the block. I think that's a good way to do it. If you can keep them separate, you don't want to force the friendship in such a short time.
See if it's a bromance, and if it's not, maybe plan
exactly.
B.
And they might have fun right away.
Yeah.
But I think if they're both on a leash, it's hard
Outside.
if one is on a leash and one is not.
Of course.
It's always better to have equal footing.
All right, Joe's giving me the wrap, so we're going to take a little break and we'll be right back. All right, so after all the talk of bringing the pet, how to do it, what if you just say, this is way too much work, this travel, this holiday thing, I'm going to take the dog to the kennel.
Yeah, definitely.
Advice?
A lot of people do that. And I would just say, make a reservation in advance because you're not the only one that's going to want to have a kennel. Also, make sure they have their right shots well in advance. So make a vet appointment well in advance. Planning is key when you have a pet.
Planning is key. That's the takeaway from this one. All right, thank you very much, Katy Hansen of Animal Care Centers of New York. I got it right, correct?
Yes, thank you.
All right, thanks for joining us for this episode. We'll see you soon on Pet Nation with John Muller.